So next it's going to be, got to replace these lower ball joints, because where I took them off using the separator, split all the rubber, so I've got to remove the ball joint guard from the brakes. Hopefully they'll just ping off, and then 40mm massive socket for these bad boys. But before I do that and replace a new one, and give all the hub a good wire brushing, and same with the control arms, just inspect these, make sure these are okay, they look okay, and just give it a general clean up around this area. So here's a bonus, ball joint removal on a Citroen C4. The socket goes on. I had to file away a few of the edges because they were a bit gnarled up from when I was trying to separate the ball joint. So filed them smooth. It is a 40mm. The calipers sort of says it's 41. That's because on the corners of each of the hex, they kind of flare out a little bit. To get it out as well, it's quite a good little idea what they have. So in here, there's a little notch, and when you fit it in, you just then bang it. The Haynes manual says stake, but you just get like a punch, and you just punch it up, and then that kind of acts as like a, so you can't unscrew it, because I was putting loads of force on this, trying to unscrew the bloody thing. I thought something ain't right, and I noticed the notch, and I was like, I did actually read the Haynes manual, but I didn't understand the stakey out a bit. So what you have to do is just bash that down, so then that can rotate, and then a little bit of force and it comes out really easily. So little bonus bit there. Don't know if you can see it, but these edges are just slightly flared up. So when you put your caliper across here and here, it measures 41, but it is a 40. It's a very tight fit. And then I used this to put in there and whacked with a hammer. So I've had to order some new heat shields, £8 for 2, to plonk onto there, because they obviously get hot and snap off. So yeah, I've got to wait for them now. I'm going to get the front bumper on. Okay, we're back to the flicky camera light again. So we're installing the bumper. You can see like 1, 2, 3 screw holes. A big slotty thing that goes up into there. That goes into there. Same on the other side. Do it 3 nuts. Next, bumper's going to go on the front. 3 more bolts. 1, 2, 3. Up. 1, 2, 3 over there. So, bumper done up on the top. Let it flap around, because these bits here and the under part needs to go up and into these bits up here. So if you put this on first on the arches up here, you ain't got enough room to swing that out. The Haynes manual on the normal C4 is slightly different and says to put this on after, to take this off before undoing these, but obviously the Picassos are slightly different. Make sure the bumper overlays this. Same with these edges in here. Next, bash these back in. Up here and here. Put all them in. And then we can put in the screws underneath. So this is a little crack that was in the car. Just do a load of little kind of stitches and then smooth it over. Obviously don't breathe in the fumes. Screws there, one on the other side, and there's as many of these as you can find to fill in all these missing holes. I think you might have to leave 2 or 3 to do the real arches. 2 brand new ball joint protectors. They just clip on and up. Cleaned up the drive shafts. You don't really have to do this, but whilst doing this, just inspecting the CV boots as well. Knocked off any old surface area rust that's on here. These are going to get wiped down with cleaner. Get rid of any grease where there's no grease needed required. Here we've got a CV joint that's come out, so I'm going to clean around here, clean out as much of the old grease in there as possible, repack that in with some CV lift moly grease, and again clean around this, seal up this, then chip around that so I don't get any contaminants from outside inside. Okay, so I've got loads of blue roll, try to clear up as much of that grease in those bearings. Obviously move that CV joint around inside. With this lip here, I've got my finger in there with a load of stuff and took out as much grease as I could from this channel. This channel here and this here is going to have to be really clean before putting the clip on. So that's that all packed in there. Obviously move this joint around as you're doing it. I used about 3 of them worth. Next I'm going to clean around and install the new CV clip. Oh, you fucking son of a bitch. So cleaned up the threads, wire brush, degreaser, wire brush and degreaser. Just cleaned up around the CV boot area. And then degreased up and around here. Next we're going to put a little bit of oil, grease onto here and then insert this back into the drive shaft seal. Clean around here. Put a little bit of grease around that and then insert it in. And do the same on the other side, and don't forget the other side's got the locking pin because it's like a 2-part joint. In of grease on that bit there. There's a little bit more of a heavier smear, but that should do it. I've cleaned down around that with a paper cloth. Don't use any carb cleaner because that might damage your seal. So I've been reasonably done up as tight as possible. Next I'm going to pull up all of this, connect all of these mountings, which will give a little bit more security to this. To help the track rod end not spin around whilst you're trying to put this nut on, which you have to replace to get this bit, got this online. I just jacked up the track rod end a little bit just to put a little bit of pressure on it so it engages in there. I could tighten that up to 38 newton meters. Also what happens is your socket gets pushed up with this little cap here as well, so you've got to be careful that you don't tend to round off the top half of it. Right, so the effort to try and get in the lower control arm, or whatever this bloody thing is, has been immense. So I've had to use some spring compression doofers, then had to put this in and that in just to help support the wheel. Put 2 litres of oil into the gearbox for the breather hole, which is there. And I'll fill in 1 litre of oil in this actuator control unit. I'll just see if I can clean them up a little bit. It's going to go into there. I'm filling up this reservoir. I'm going to fill it up to max. And I've just got a bit of fish pipe, 60mm syringe, onto a funnel, and it's held on just by this little bit of handy cable there. Just bear in mind that because the car's up at the front and on an angle, it's never going to reach that mark. It's always going to overflow there first and piss out everywhere, so yeah, don't forget that. So clean the actuators. You got 1 clip here, comes up and goes into here. Screwed this back on. Sprayed a bit of WD-40 over them because it started to get a little bit rusty. And there's going to be 1 clip back on there. It's a Delphi. Goes onto there. And then there's another one somewhere that will go into there as well. Just make sure when reinstalling this clip here, this plastic yellow thing slides up, and then it pushes all the way in, and it pushes down into the little cutaway, which then gives it its it was meant sort of compatibly tightly, which then makes sure it's tightly fitted. I have pressurized the system back up, done that via the diag box. I went to go in and use the Lexus, didn't really sort of jump straight in there and figure bits out. As soon as I went in the diag box bit, it all just started kicking up and everything started going off. You could hear the actuators inside of the gearbox just doing their stuff, repriming up the system. Without even touching the button, it automatically done that. It kind of ran through. I think I might have went one of the first sections, I can't remember what it was, and it just literally started itself up. There's a few little things I've got to do to finish it off. I've got to take it for a drive. I've got to go up to 30 miles an hour in first, let it change to second and stop and do that for 3 or 4 times, and then I've got to take it up through the gears up to like 60 or so. That I'll be doing at another time. I'm currently trying to build a car charger for my laptop, because with laptops the batteries in it don't last very long, so that's another project on the go. Also, don't forget that I've done a clutch kind of pressure plate build. That is a tool that I'm not too sure if he needed it for this clutch, but may come in handy for other things. Obviously I tried to then use it as a gearbox cradle, but that really didn't work, didn't have much success with that. So once again, big thank you to the French Car Forums and Mark especially. Cheers, man.